So can I actually get a poll on who's actually worked with the Creative Cloud Suite before? Okay, cool. And then the rest of you, are you guys like brand new, haven't touched Photoshop at all? Okay. So I'm gonna have to introduce the concept of layers. So for those who this is the first time, layers is basically, think of it as sheets of paper that you can like layer on top of each other, and each sheet of paper you draw something or you have something on it, and you can like hide it, or you can use it to like organize your, I guess, like drawings or illustrations. And it's just a really good way to organize. I'll show you how I organize my layers, because you can name them, and it's basically a it gives you a better workflow. Okay, so file new. Oh, also, this is just for future reference. For color mode, RGB is for web and CMYK is for printing. Okay. All right, cool. So do you guys have Illustrator open? Sorry, that took forever. Okay. So what we're going to actually do first is we're going to try to copy this Google Play logo. This is like the very basics of Illustrator, but hopefully you guys will get it, and it uses a lot of like the basic tools of Illustrator. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to this rectangle tool, which is the 5th down. And then you're going to double click, and then you can see there's a bunch of other shapes. So we're going to use the Polygon tool. So just click on that. And then what you do, so the Google Play is like a triangle shape, right? If you drag, this is a hexagon, but we want a triangle. So if you drag, hold, but do not let go, and you press the down arrow key, you can change however many sides you want the shape to be. And so we want a triangle, so we're just going to make a triangle. So just hold down the down arrow key. What? Sorry?
Can you just repeat the instructions?
Yeah. So you double click. It should look like this for now if you're brand new. And then you just scroll down to the Polygon tool and you click that. And then you drag. So it usually like shows up like this. Just like don't let go. And like press the down arrow key on your keyboard, and it should change the amount of sides. Yeah. Also, okay. Sorry. For some reason my internet is not working, but if you guys want to like copy this completely, I would suggest just taking a screenshot, and you can just open it with Illustrator, so we can use that as like the background, use it as to like copy. So I'm just going to, you can also like drag it in Illustrator, but I'm just going to open with Illustrator. And then now you see we're on like one layer. It copied on top of my triangle, so now I can't access this. But what we can do is we can make this into another, we can like put it into another layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a layer which is on the bottom right hand corner. It should be like a page with a fold on the bottom. Just click on that, and you should have both on one layer. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually I'm just going to make this. We're going to do the screenshot or whatever we're going to copy on one layer, and then we're going to lock it so that we're not going to be able to move it around. And then on the second layer, we're just going to create the triangle again and like kind of copy it to the shape. Should be fine at this point. And then as you can see, the triangle is like curved. So if you click on the direct selection tool, you can change the curvature of the triangle. So
Could you go over the layer thing?
yeah, so to make a new layer, you basically click on the bottom right, and if you hover over it, it says create new layer. So you just click on that, and then that'll create a new layer. And then this is really useful for organizing your workflow. So for example, my layer 1 is my background layer. So if you just double click, I'm just gonna title it BG, which is like background. And then you can like lock it, unlock it by clicking on the side of it. Locking it just makes sure that you don't like move it or like edit it in any sort of way. And if you do want to edit it, just like unlock it. Sorry. And then so we're going to be working on layer 2. And I've done this multiple times. I'm sure you guys got the hang of making the triangle. And if you just click on the direct selection tool, or you can use a hotkey, which is kind of like a shortcut, which I will talk a little bit about later. But the hotkey for this is just A, but the direct selection tool allows you to like manipulate the triangle so that like you can change the points to make it more like the Google Play. So are you guys all good for that? Okay. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand or like shout out.
Wait, which one's direct selection?
It's the one right next to selection tool. Okay, I'm going to move on. So right now we have this triangle. It could be any color you want. It doesn't matter because we're going to change that later. But for now, I'm just going to make the opacity like 50% so I can see the lines underneath it. So opacity is up here. And make sure you select the object before you change the opacity. So this is just changing the opacity of the object. All right. So now we're going to cut lines into the triangle. In order to do that, we have this line segment tool. So click on that. And basically what you're going to do is you just like drag and copy the lines.
How do you change the opacity?
Oh, yeah. So opacity, make sure you select the object first. So make sure you select the triangle first. And then opacity should be up here. And then you just change it. Okay, so are you guys good on that? I see a confused face.
When did you like curve? How did you make the edges curved?
So the edges curved is, sorry. Basically, you click on the direct selection tool, and it basically manipulates the object. And once you click on that, you see these little circle thingies. It doesn't. Okay.
I don't think it's on. Like I see a 6, and it's not on that position.
Oh. Okay. Okay. So my internet's not working right now, and I have like tips on the internet. But if you just like Google, like curving your shape. Okay, are you guys, I mean, honestly, like, I have a cheat sheet that I can't show you because my internet's not working, but, like, if you guys get stuck on this, it should be fine. I'll just, like, give you guys a cheat sheet at the end. So, like, it doesn't matter if this is curved or not. Okay. Okay, so, now we're going to cut lines into the triangle. Basically, the line segment tool is over here. It's like 4 down to the right. You just click on that, and it draws like any line that you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag the line to copy Google Play, and we're going to make 2 lines. And you don't really see the lines because they are not filled or they do not have a stroke. So for this purpose, like, that doesn't matter because we're just using it to like cut the shape, so it's like a scissor almost, or a knife. But if you just want the line, you have to click on, if there's like a line through it, it means there's like nothing there. You have to click on the color, and then you can like change the color of the line if you just want the line. And you can change the size of the stroke by going up to the stroke on top, and change whatever color you want, red, blue. Just like double click on this to change it. Okay, but for now we're not going to make it colored. Okay, so do you guys have the 2 lines? So now we're going to use Pathfinder, and what this does, it like cuts it. Basically, well, first you have to like highlight the whole thing. So in order to highlight it, you just like drag your mouse over it, and see this rectangle that it's creating. It's highlighting it, and it's selecting everything that is unlocked, which is layer 2. So it's not selecting the background because we don't want that to be selected. If you just click on divide, it should, hold on, sorry. Oh, okay, so if you guys don't have the Pathfinder's toolbar, it might be on the side. It looks like this. Or if you guys like can't find anything, you can search it by like clicking on help and just like search Pathfinder. And my computer's taking a while. But if you guys like can't find anything, just go to help, and there's a search bar, and it shows you where you can find it. So Pathfinder's here. So do you guys have that? Okay. And then.
And what action do we have to do with Pathfinder again?
So for Pathfinder, you have to highlight the whole thing and then click on divide. So that's going to. It should divide everything. Okay, so after you divide it, like for some of you it might like has this division, but you still can't like manipulate it as separate pieces. So you just right click and you ungroup it. So because right now it's in a group, after you right click you can manipulate like any piece. So it's in a group. So we want to ungroup it. So if you highlight it and if you right click, what does it say? Does it say group or ungroup? Can you manipulate the individual pieces? Okay. Did you divide it? Did you use a Pathfinder divide? Okay.
I went to effect Pathfinder.
That should work. Did you highlight everything?
Yeah.
Okay. I will. That's weird. It should work. Okay, for now, we're gonna move on, but if you like Google, sorry, I have like links to tutorials that like would show you this, but my internet's not working. But if you just Google cutting shapes on Illustrator and like Google that on like YouTube, it's gonna be like a 60-second video and it'll show you how to do it. But for like the time right now. We're gonna move on. So hold on, let me just make sure that it's okay. So for now, the triangle is one color, but what we can do is that we can change the color into this, and we can use the gradient tool. So actually first, sorry, hold on. I'm going to make the opacity 100. So you can click on like any shape that you want to change. So I'm just gonna click on this big triangle here, and you can, as you can like kind of see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but like it's not a full like color. It changes from like blue to aqua green. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to do that with the gradient tool. The gradient tool is here, and then there's also a gradient here. If you just click on it, it like gives you a gradient, but it's only in black and white. So what we have to do is we have to go to the gradient slider, and then if you just press anywhere like on the bottom of this, it like changes the color. And then if you want to get rid or like move the color or whatever, you want to get rid of it, just like drag it down. Just drag it down. You add another color. Just drag this one down. And if you want to change the color, just double click on the little slide thing. Okay, so do you guys have two colors? Okay, so after that, as you can see, it's not the same like angle. So if you just like click on the gradient, you can change the way that the gradient moves. You guys see that? And then, so the shorter you make the line, the harsher the gradient is. The longer you make the line, the more smooth the gradient is. So short line, harsh gradient, long line, smooth gradient. And then you can just like do that with the rest of the shapes. Okay, so now you guys know how to make the Google play. We're not going to go through like the rest of the three shapes. Now I'm going to like teach you guys the pen tool and the rotate tool. And I would want you guys to like just Google the BP logo and take a screenshot of it, because we're going to be using this to create like the radial pattern. So just go on Google, take a screenshot, and then open that screenshot with Illustrator. And it should open in like a new page. And this is going to be layer 1, so we're going to lock it so we don't move it.
Wait, what logo is that? Sorry.
BP. Yeah. Okay, so for those who got it already, this is in layer 1. Lock the layer that the BP logo is on. You can also increase the size if it's like let's say you took a screenshot and it's like this small. You can increase the size, but make sure that you guys hold down Shift so that it doesn't like do some weird funky thing. Holding down Shift basically locks the proportions. If you don't hold down Shift, you can like stretch it, shrink it, whatever, but for now, we're gonna hold down shift. We want the proportions to be intact. So we're gonna lock it. And we're gonna create a new layer. This is the layer that we're gonna draw on. And we're gonna be using the pen tool, except we're gonna be using the curvature tool, which is honestly like harder, but if you guys get used to it, it'll be a lot like easier to create your designs later on. So we're gonna practice with the curvature tool, and if you guys need more practice like after this, just play the game that you just like Google Adobe Pen game Illustrator. Just like those 4 words, if you just Google it, the game should show up. Okay. So, oh, and also like in order to increase or decrease the size, you just like, you can either do command minus, command plus, or just use your trackpad. Okay, so we're gonna be using the curvature pen tool, so click on it. It should be 3 down, 1 right. Okay, so let's copy this green petal over here. So basically what the curvature tool is, first you make a point, right? You click on it, that's the starting point. And the second point that you click, it's gonna curve around the point. If you don't want it to curve around the point, you double click on it and it's gonna be a straight line. Okay, and in order to like undo, that's command Z. So if you guys are like, oh my god, what did I do? Just like command Z and it'll take you back the steps that you are until you are where you want to be. So click on the petal, the green petal, and then we click on the middle of the petal. So it's going to curve around this, and then we click on the end of the petal, and we don't want it to curve, right? So we double click on it, and then it's going to be straight. And so you can just like copy this. So double click, single click will curve, double click will make it straight, single click will make it curved, double click will make it straight. And this is an ugly petal, but you guys get the idea. Kind of rushing through this. Okay, so you guys all got this petal? Okay, if you guys don't have the petal, it's fine. We're still gonna use the rotate tool. Like it's still gonna rotate around it. It's just not gonna like look like a flower, but it's fine. Okay, so before we rotate it, we want to make sure that we know the center of this, because if you rotate it on like an off center, it's gonna like go in a spirally thing and it's not gonna end up very nice. So if you do command R, it brings up the ruler. If you guys can like see the ruler on and off. And what the ruler does is that it allows you to make like marks to track where the center is. And all you have, in order to make a mark, you just click on it and drag and don't let go until you know where you want to place it, and then once you let go, it makes a mark. So we're going to make a mark in the middle of the flower. So you guys got that mark? That's going to be our center point. That's where we're going to rotate around this. Yeah. 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 So you have the ruler, right? Command R will bring up the ruler. And then in order to make the mark, you have to have your mouse hovering over the ruler. So it has to be hovering like in the ruler area zone. And then you just like click and drag, and then you let go wherever you want the guide to be. Okay, you guys got the center? Okay, so once you guys got the center, we're going to click on the petal, and then we're going to click on the rotate rule. You can also use the hotkey R. So this is like and then we have this like target looking thing. We're gonna put the target on the center, and then we're gonna hold down Option and then click on the center, and then this screen should show up. You guys got that? Okay, so in order to rotate this around and not have it overlap, we're gonna do some simple math. We're gonna count how many petals there are and divide it by 360. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 18 petals divided by 360. You guys can bring out a calculator, or if you don't, if you're like lazy, just do 360 divided by 18 and it'll give you the angle.
How do you get the pattern to come up?
Oh, okay. So click on the object, and then if you just press R, that'll give you the rotate tool. The rotate is also here, and then make sure that your target is in the center, your mouse is in the center. If you hold down Option and then click, it should show up. Okay, all right, so 360 divided by 18. And then if you click on preview, it's going to show that it's going to go over to the next slide. Okay, so once you guys have that, just click copy and then hold down Command and keep on pressing D, and then it'll just like copy and it'll make a circle. So I'm going to repeat that. Make sure you select the object. You can press R, or you can click on this rotate tool. You click on the center while holding Option, and that'll bring this up. And then however many times you want it to show up, but in this case we want it to show up 18 times. So it's going to be 360 divided by 18. And then you click on copy. You do not click on OK. Just click on copy, and then hold down Command and then press D, and it'll make copies. Alright. And you can do this with like any object, shape, whatever. So like let's just say I wanted to make a triangle like thingy. Actually, hold on. It'll be like magenta. And then you just click the rotate tool. So basically the steps that I showed, it like, oops, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having trouble when I push the rotate button. It's like the little window isn't popping up to change the angle.
Oh, okay. So make sure that you're holding down Option. Oh, are you not using a Mac? You are using a Mac. Yeah, make sure you hold down Option when you click on the center.
Okay.
And then if you hold down Option, click OK.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we're going to be, let's see. We're going to be practicing the curvature tool a little bit more, just so you guys get the hang of it. So just like open anything that you want to create with like curves, just like anything. Also, when you're like designing something, this is just like a general rule, it's good to have like a nice color palette. If the colors don't look well together, the design probably won't look that great. So if you go to Adobe Cooler, Kuler, that gives you like a place where you can have a set or a palette that you like, And there's also colorlovers.com, but color is spelled like the British way, I think. So COLOUR lovers.com, and that gives you like a palette of colors to choose from. And I'm sorry that I can't show it because my internet is being weird, but that's like if you want to get colors. Also, if you guys don't have the internet and you still want palettes, you guys can go to this swatches panel. If you guys don't have a swatch panel, just again go to help, click on search, and then type in swatches, and it'll show you the where the swatches panel is. But the swatches panel basically gives you like a library of palettes that you can use. So let's see, if you want like a palette for skin tones, it gives you a palette of skin tones, and here you can just, these are all these like skin tone palettes that you can use. And it's like good to have a swatch because you don't want your design to have millions of colors that are like slightly off. So it just makes it more uniformed. Also, if you don't have a swatch, and let's just say you want a specific color of like, let's just say I want this color. If you just use the eyedropper tool, you can press I, or the eyedropper tool is here. And if you just click on it, it'll give you the color.
Do you have to be in that layer for that to work?
Yeah, I think.
So that color guide is like a palette?
Yeah. You don't have to be on the layer to work. Yeah. Okay. So that's colors 101. All right. So we're just going to be practicing the pen tool for a little bit. So we're going to do the curvature tool. And we're going to practice this because the pen tool itself is very like self-explanatory. You just like click on whatever wherever you want the object shape to be, and it'll just like create a shape for you. But we're gonna use the curvature tool because the curvature is like allows you to make curves and straight lines.
What design are you using?
I just took a screenshot of like some design I found online.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just like pick, like just Google design circle design. I think this is like a wave and a summer circle design. I don't know. Just anything with curves should do. Okay. So using the pen tool. Okay, so let me know. I'm going to start here. But let me know where to click and double click. So single click and double click. Actually, in this case, it's all curves. Okay. So just like start. This is really hard. I'm sorry because we don't have the same screen open. But basically, if you want to trace it, just click on a place that it like changes the curve shape. So it's like if I want to make it curve upwards, I'm going to click on the middle and then it'll curve upwards. And then if I want it to curve down, I'm going to click on the middle and then it'll curve down again. So and again, if you guys are having trouble with this, like the game that I mentioned is really good for practicing with the pen tool.
When you click once and then you make a curve and then
Yeah.
click again.
Yeah.
So if you do make another curve, the other one is going to be affected?
Yeah, so it's like a fluid, it's kind of like a fluid thing, so you kind of have to get used to it, which is kind of why the curvature tool, I know for like beginners, like when I was starting out with it, it was like hard to manipulate, but like the more you practice with it, like you'll get the hang of it.
And is there a way to just like stop the
Yeah, so to stop it, you can press V, which is like the selection tool, and it'll just stop it.
So every time, I mean, you make a curve.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make another curve
that doesn't affect this one. You have to stop and then
Yeah.
start again,
Yeah.
like from where you left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can like cut it in half, but there's like multiple ways to do things. Honestly, like this is just one way. If you want like other ways, you just like Google curve Illustrator. I should give you multiple ways. But this is just like the tool that I like using the best. Okay. Okay. So now, let's see. I don't have my itinerary, but we're gonna like see if we can make a 3D shape. Let me just see something. Okay, so first, like, make a shape. Doesn't matter what shape you make, just make a shape. And then if you go down to effects, so effects are fun. You can do a lot of things with it. For example, sorry, I'm just gonna like copy this for a little bit. So I'm gonna go to the ellipse tool and I'm gonna make a circle. Also, when you guys make a circle, like remember to hold down Shift, and if you want to make it in the center, hold down Shift and Option at the same time, and that'll make a circle. So it'll expand from the center by holding down Option, and by holding down Shift, it like constrains the proportions to a perfect circle. Okay. And then I'm sure you guys know like copy and paste is the same thing on like Word document or whatever, Command C and Command V. You can copy and paste like that as well. Okay. So, sorry, for effects. Oh, also if you guys like, if it's like blocking, because this is going to be the shadow. If it's blocking, you can do command, hold down command. Sorry, these are a lot of hotkeys that I'm using, but they're like useful if you have like to do quick work. Just do command left bracket and it'll bring it backwards. And if you do command right bracket, it'll bring it forwards. You can also see it here, the layers, like the path. You can change where it is. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna use the effects to make like a shadow effect. Just go up to effects, just do blur, Gaussian blur would work. You could do like a preview of it, and then that'll just create a shadow. That's okay. Alright, so that's like creating a shadow. And effects are very fun to play with. I suggest you play with them all. See which ones you like best. There's also like distort, sketch, stylize. There's 3D, which is, we're just going to make this 3D. We're going to make this circle 3D. So make sure you click on it, effects, 3D. You can do like extrude, bevel, revolve, rotate. And then this screen should pop up. Actually, I'm gonna make it a square. Okay, so you guys like, if you guys just click on preview, it should show you how it looks like. And then you guys can like rotate it using these 3 circle angle things. You can play with the extrude. There's like bevel. I guess none is okay. And then there's like plastic shading, which is what this looks like. There's also wireframe, which just like gives you an outline of the shape that you're in. So yeah, that's like 3D in a nutshell. I actually don't really work with 3D that often. But if you guys like want to do 3D stuff.
Does 3D work on the curves that we were drawing as well?
Yeah, it should. Let me just... sorry. Yeah. I mean, like, it should work on anything. Wireframe. Except for pictures, because the picture is like flat. Well, I mean, like, all of these are flat, but like the picture is like a single thing that you can't manipulate. But all shapes can be turned into 3D. Let's see. Then if you guys like want to change the path to like a dotted line like this, remember we have the fill and the stroke. So if you just make any shape, so fill will fill the object. If you toggle it back and forth, you can also use Shift X. So like the parentheses is the hotkey that you can use. So for example, ellipse tool, the hotkey is L. If you just press L, it'll bring you directly to the ellipse tool. But if you like, I showed you guys this before, right? You guys know how to make a shape with a stroke. Let's see if there's... Okay. So if you guys are like selecting the object, and if you want to make the stroke a dotted line, you can change the width. But if you just... Okay, so it might look like this, where it's like, where's the stroke? If you have the stroke and you want more options, just like click show options on the right corner, and you can like change the weight. You can make it dashed. This is like however many dashes you want, so it's like, or like, sorry, how long the dash is. So the bigger the number, like the longer the dash is, and the smaller the number, the smaller the dash is. So that is what this design is doing. And honestly, like what I taught you guys, all so far, you can make this design on your own. Like, it's not that hard. So do you guys want to like test your knowledge and see how you would make this design? I'm just gonna like ask you guys what tool I should use. Okay, so well, I kind of already made the... So for the giant circle tool, I already showed you guys, right? The dotted. And then how do I like get the curves like this, and how do I change it so that this curve is a different color from this curve? Do you guys remember how to make sure to like cut it first, right? So we have the shape, and then we can cut it. We use these lines, but honestly we can use like the curvature tool. So let's just say, for example, sorry, I'm gonna go to my layers. I'm just gonna make curve. Okay. All right. Let's just say I mean, honestly, like, you guys can literally just draw another shape on top of it with a different color. That'll work too. But if you just want to, like, for example, if you just like draw another shape on it, there's like a different color, right? But if you want to cut it, you can use the curve path again. So the curve path is now a line essentially, and if you highlight it, you use the pathfinder to divide it, and then you can change the different colors. So it's like basically what we did here, except instead of using the line tool, we use the curve tool. Do you guys have any questions on like how you might make this? It's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. And I already showed you guys the effects of like the drop shadow. Those are effects here, which I think are very fun to play with. Yeah, and then if you guys want like a different color, go to swatches. Oh, sorry. And if you guys like have a color swatch that you found on the internet, but like you can't get those colors down, you just take a screenshot, like basically what I did. Take a screenshot, import it on Illustrator, use the eyedropper tool, and you just like click wherever you want the color to be. Yeah. Okay. So that's like Illustrator in a nutshell. Do you guys have like any specific questions you want to know about? Do you guys feel like you can make this on your own? No? I have a cheat sheet that I can,
That there's like a light in every on the top of the shapes.
like this? What? Sorry.
Yeah, like that. Like there are a couple of shades of orange there, right?
Yeah, so
But I don't think like the gradient is pretty uniform.
yeah, so we can, hold on. So what you can do is there's like multiple options. You can either use the gradient tool, or you can make like I'm just gonna make it a different color. Like the drop shadow. So if you just like copy and paste, you have the effect, blur. And essentially, like, what you can do is it kind of like looks like this. Obviously the shadow is too harsh, but that's because the shadow is black. So if you just like make it blue, kind of has like the same effect. And then you have another, let's make a circle. It's like you like play around with shapes and stuff and different effects, and you can make this a gradient too. Remember, you have to like, I do not know the exact color, I'm sorry, but you get the general idea. Yeah, like you play with effects and stuff. Ugh, I need to get it. Like, okay. Anyways, all right, you get the point. Okay. Okay, so we're kind of out of time here, but I think I'm just going to post on the event page like the cheat sheet that I made. If you guys like have any more questions, just look on there. And yeah, that should be it. Thank you.